Hey,
What is going on?
what's going on? It's Monday, so it must be time for
More you know Mondays.
Mondays. All right, we do an intro.
We still suck.
We
gotta work
do.
on that, man.
Oh.
Look at that. Impromptu More You Know Mondays, because it was supposed to be on my channel. I was supposed to talk about the Eternals, and I didn't have time. And we go on Shelby's channel with no notice. And look at that. Las Cruces already in here
Cruces
from New
is in
Mexico.
here.
What is up, buddy? We appreciate you.
Always the first to comment on my videos. I dropped a video last week like at 3 o'clock in the morning, and 30 minutes later he commented on it. And I'm like, what a guy.
Man.
What a guy. Yeah.
Yeah, so again, I apologize for everyone. I thought it'd be cool to dive into the Eternals a little bit. You know, obviously I read them back in the day, you know, with the limited series came out, with Kirby's series came out there, and obviously some of the stuff in the Avengers and Thor were kind of cool from what I remember. And then when I started going back and piecing things together, and I'm like, man, they're just not that cool.
Yeah. I mean, I read, like you and I were talking a little bit before the show, I read the first 5 issues of the Kirby series. And it was interesting at first, you know, forgiving the very outdated dialogue is, you know, the two archaeologists, this strange guy there, whom was just there, right? It's like, you know, they talk about how weird he is and stuff, but I mean, I'm sure it seemed like you probably had worked with this guy or something. I don't know. And he turns out being eternal and, you know, turns this stuff back on. The deviants are uprising. Celestials come back to Earth. The main red one, you know, is like going to be a statue for 50 years and then judge Earth or something. I mean, I don't know. And then it just got, it got a little bad after that.
Well, like we talked about before, they were trying to basically get 3 years worth of kind of mythology, and because it really is a very epic tale where you're talking about the history of the world and everything, and bringing in Celestials, and you see how much they touch. I mean, he goes all the way to Galactus behind you, you know, and his role, and they kind of retcon that a little bit. You know, why the purpose of Galactus has been around is to actually eat celestial babies. You know, it's just all kinds of stuff they started tweaking, and I'm like, wow, this is just a lot to unpack right here.
Yeah. And I did. Hold on 1 second.
Todd, that's awesome, buddy. I'm glad you got it, man. Thank you. We did a quick little impromptu. We're just gonna chat for a little bit here. I was gonna do a big thing about the Eternals, but it was just getting too much, and obviously life going on right now and a lot of things. So I'm like, I couldn't get it all done. So we're just gonna chat for a little bit here. But I'm glad you got it, man.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and I know you don't know this. But whenever I was doing my undergraduate degree, my minor was actually in archaeology.
Oh, really? So you were like Indiana Jones?
I was a little bit. My area that I studied was actually Mesoamerican archaeology. So, like this is one of my textbooks. And so the mythology, you know, he kept saying was the Incas, which is like this. Hey, Thunder.
What's up, Thunder God?
But you know, really, he is pulling from a lot of different things, not just the Incas. You know, a lot of the stuff that they were showing actually was more Mesoamerican. This is South American because Incas are from Peru, which is South America. And it is on the coastline, so that would match with being able to, you know, come underneath and go into, and the Nazca lines are also in Peru, which they talk about in the first couple of books. Because you can actually see here that it's actually all on the coastline where they where the Incas were.
Well, it's awesome, Todd. Yeah, the new Batman trailer looks sick. I love that.
It looks pretty. How do you want to say it?
Awesome.
Awesome would be a way. Brutal might be another one. So, but anyway, yeah, and they reference, of course, the Andes Mountains, which is here. But a lot of what they were really referencing and showing in the artwork was definitely more Olmec in design. So that one I pulled out. And
so you guys didn't know you're going to get a history lesson on top of this here. Not just history of comics, but a history of the world.
Yeah, and this is definitely more Olmec.
Yeah, we just jumped on Thunder.
But yeah, yeah, so yeah, you have, and then of course they referenced and then some of the stuff comes from a very popular book in the 70s called Chariot of the Gods by Eric von Daniken.
Yep.
Where he referenced a lot of
aliens.
Meso. Well, he referenced the Meso and South American pictographs that were, in the ruins as evidence of flying saucers and stuff, like the Nazca lines and things like that.
Right.
There's that kind of famous picture, which is supposed to be, this is an astronaut in a spaceship and stuff.
Yeah,
and
the helmet and the fire from the yeah.
And that's actually Mayan, right? So it's a very big mixture, and these cultures are separated by hundreds of years, right? So it's not like they're separated by 5 or 10 years. I mean, the Mayans were around from around 900 BC up until the Spanish conquest. You cannot, but I am DVRing the Saints game, so do not give me any updates. So
we'll be done quick tonight, guys.
I'll be able to fast forward through the commercials and really enjoy the game.
Come on, Todd. You don't want Affleck as Batman. Next thing you're going to say you don't want Jennifer Gardner as Elektra. Come on.
I like the Affleck Batman. But then, like I said, yeah, also the Incas is Peru, and then the Olmec, Toltecs, and Aztecs is central Mexico. That's where the modern Mexico City is built on top of, is actually the Aztec capital that was taken over by Spain. So if y'all didn't know that,
there you go. Now you do.
Completely obliterated society. So Thunder, go fuck yourself. All right. Anyway. So enough of that. That was your quick history lesson. There may be a quiz later. There may not be.
Bale was the best. I agree, Todd. Thunder, I don't know what you're smoking, but Batfleck is not the most accurate casted Batman.
I think he's a very accurate Dark Knight cast, because the bulky Frank Miller Batman, to me, Ben Affleck personified that. So that's my view on it. Bruce Wayne / 70s Neil Adams Batman. I mean, I don't know. Christian Bale, I guess, is more of a 2000s Batman, but
yeah, I don't know. Batfleck. I mean, maybe it was just the way it was written more.
Keaton was not my favorite Batman.
Yeah,
I didn't think Keaton did a great job. I didn't think Keaton was necessarily right. I, thought it was okay. Do not make me come up there. Just wait till I show out on your show. But anyway.
Yeah, anyway, so we're talking about obviously the Eternals. Outside of the original series, there wasn't a whole lot that is very interesting, in all honesty, that's gone on with them. So they had
Like you
those
said,
couple of cool appearances of
The Neil
Thor.
Gaiman and John Romita story was really, really good. I
Lately,
remember it.
yeah, they've been retconning things a little bit more on that to make them a little bit more interesting. It's one of those things where like the Black Knight, they're trying to bring him part of it, but he's not that interesting to begin with either. And when you start getting into series and characters like Captain Marvel, even where they keep starting and stopping different series and pull them into other comic books to try and get them popular, and they never get popular, but Marvel's really trying to push them to get popular. That's what I feel like is happening with all those characters, that even throughout the years they put Black Knight into so many different teams and even different universes and everything to try and get him popular, and he never really got popular. The Eternals, they try to do a lot of different things with the Eternals, and again, outside of three or four of them, I don't think anyone can name any of the other ones to begin with, and because they were never pushed, and they're not that great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be still a great movie. Like we said before, like we're talking about before the show. I think the premise of what Kirby was doing, which is um the gods, I'm not really positive is the celestials or not.
Right.
Creating the three branches of humanity, the deviants, the eternals, and the humans. Um and then you have this there was these periods of time throughout history that are wrapped up in our myth of demons and things like that, which
Right.
are actually probably the deviants. um
Right. When you got names like Icarus and Athena
sure
and
yeah,
Ajax and Gilgamesh, they're all tied into all the different mythologies around the world based
yeah,
off of the Eternals.
yeah,
They
Mercury or Makari.
right,
um uh and then you have this cosmic event that happens in the comic, which summons the Celestials back to Earth, which I guess the snap is the cosmic event in the movie, and it brings the Celestials back to Earth. And you do have what's his name, the judge,
the judge.
the
Yeah.
red celestial that will judge Earth um
See,
in
now
50
depending
years
on
and stuff.
what version of the Eternals you read and how they've changed a little bit, that means different things. One is that they come back and judge their experiment to see if their experiment, if the good people or the
Yeah.
mutants, if you want to say, if they've genetically, went the right way, or if the deviants took over and it's the bad way, then that it's almost like if it's a good, it goes to these celestials, they absorb the energy. If it's bad, it goes to those celestials, they absorb the energy. And then you have the whole thing of the purpose of now Galactus. His whole purpose to consuming planets was actually to keep celestials in check, because celestials were going around impregnating all these planets and putting the celestial seeds in all these planets, which has the power cosmic, the cosmic power in there, and that's what is drawing Galactus to planets. So his job was to go around and destroy these planets so the universe wasn't overrun with celestials.
Mm,
That whole change of his kind of was a little more unique
yeah.
that I read. So if that is kind of taken now into the movies, does this emergent and this possible power that's come through celestial, if that really is a celestial living in the Earth, if that's going to come to fruition, does that mean
Right.
we're going to maybe Galactus coming then as well? Is this all tied into all of that stuff? I don't know.
Yeah, and I like the way it seems like they're doing their powers in the movie a little bit better. All of them seem to have similar powers, though slightly different.
It's all a little
But it
different.
seems like in the movie they're making a very clean differentiation. And some of the monsters that I've seen in the previews are very, very accurate to the Kirby book.
Right. How are they
Like the
how are they
winged
going to do Thanos?
creature and stuff. Hmm?
how are they to explain Thanos, you think, in the movie? Because he's technically a deviant, and they said, we're here to protect humans unless deviants are involved. If Thanos is a deviant, they should have stepped in, and they didn't. So do you think the MCU is going to say, well, Thanos actually is not a deviant?
Well, you mean in the comic book he's a deviant?
Right.
Yeah, I think in the movies they've clearly just put him as a race of
Not a deviant.
yeah, just as that separate race from
Okay.
whatever the name of his home world, Titan. Um
What's up, Fox?
is
Man's in the building.
Yep. So anyway, so what else been going on this week?
No, just very busy at work, around the house. We had to put a new fence in. So
Right.
it's been busy. That's why I couldn't get everything done for this week here. But yeah, I had some big things on Whatnot. Had some big follower giveaways and everything we did. So had two big shows over the weekend. And someone who shall not be named showed up to both events.
I heard.
And of course, everyone keeps sniping all my good luck duck books. So I had to get something a little bit different.
Ooh,
so I got the magazine Howard the Duck #1 right there because I love this cover.
I don't think I've ever seen that. What is
1980s? That? Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty cool, right?
That's issue 8.
Yeah, issue 8. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, I don't have that full set yet. So that and the Hulk I'd like to complete. Something I haven't.
Really cool ones.
Yeah, they are making a new FF movie at some point. They have something slated for like 2024 that's unnamed or something. Because they just announced the shifting of all the Marvel movies next year. So all of them just shift backwards to the previous one's time slot.
Yeah,
to do some more production work or something. So
it's
gonna
be interesting to see what they're doing here. I mean, obviously, if they can make Guardians of the Galaxy cool, I mean, they'll do something cool with the Eternals.
I think it's gonna be a great movie. I think it's gonna be a great movie. And I've heard some early reviews and stuff. People say that it's a really it's
how do you know that, Thunder, unless you're on there?
It's different, but they said it's a really good movie. So what are you doing with that Howard the Duck book? What are you doing?
Well, for the duck races, even the duck races I do on the Thunderdome, I always have a good luck duck, and it's a good luck comic book, a duck related. So it's a Howard the Duck. It's a it's a Duck Avenger right here. Stuntman got me some. He sent me in this awesome one.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's an absolutely awesome one. So I put that up for the duck race to give me good luck so I can win. And over the weekend, I think I lost 7 out of 10. So they don't bring me particularly good luck. And then when I lose, everyone's always like, can I buy that book now? Can you put it up for auction because I want that book? Okay. So my duck books keep getting dwindled down. So I'm trying to find a few different ones out there.
I got you. Okay.
Whatnot shall not be named.
So, I dropped a video today that I picked up a couple of grails for myself. And I think that's a very overused term. I hate overusing it myself, but it is a couple of older books. Got this very nice Silver Age Tales to Astonish. Number 54. I doubt I'll ever finish the Tales to Astonish run. I'm trying to do the superhero run of Tales to Astonish, and I don't have this one.
So it brings up a question.
Yeah.
Because you're a completist. You like getting all the runs of everything.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of different ways you can go about doing it. Which kind of camp are you in? So some people go for, you got to get the Grail books first. I know Grail books. You got to get one of the big books first, and then you fill in the other ones. Or are you getting the cheaper or less expensive ones and then get the Grail ones for last?
I usually pick up the cheaper ones first, because I can usually knock those out fairly quickly and get a big hunk of things. And then, like really hear about once every on those foreign books, that I spent a lot of money on those foreign books and those couple of auctions.
Oh yeah.
Those weren't necessarily grails I was looking for, though I did spend a lot of money. But probably about every 2 months I save up money when I get to a certain level, 400 or 500 or 600 or whatever, right? Then I'll look for a couple of higher price books. So
Gotcha. Yeah, because that's the way
um
I started off. I started doing like, okay, if I'm going to get a whole run, I'll grab it. This is $2, $4,
yeah.
$10. I start grabbing a bunch of them to get it, and then 9 times out of 10, I don't end up getting the big books because the big books keep going up in price.
And that's what ends up happening. I probably have missed my window on like FF48 because I never found a copy I was happy with at the right price, and that book has just exploded in the past year.
Right.
Um,
That's why I switched that mentality.
I'm
You
about to boot you out of here, Thunder.
know, so that's why I switched the mentality, saying I know I can pick up the cheaper books at any point in time. They're cheaper for a reason. They're common. Go for the big one because when I look at a lot of my collections I had, I'm like, wow, all the money I spent for all the filler books, you want to call it, I could have bought one or two of the big Grail books and already had that done, and then easily pick up the rest of them from there. So that's
Yeah,
what I kind of started doing now. And switching that mentality is not easy because when I see the books, I want to buy them. But then I just
yeah,
realized that's another $4 over towards my big book that I'm going to get, and I can get that much sooner and then pick this up later.
right. Yeah, what I did for a long time is to afford my big books, I could only do something once a year, and that's usually when I got income tax back. And I would spend about $800, set aside $800 for my income tax return and purchase something big. That's where I got my giant size. That's where I got my Hulk 181, things like that. And for about 4 years in a row, I did look for a Fantastic Four 48. And it just, at the
So couldn't
time
get
when I
it.
got my tax returns and stuff, I just could not find the grade / price I was happy with. I did once, but it just wasn't in my budget at that time. Um, you know, you see that book around though,
All right.
maybe in a couple of years,
All right.
I'll be willing to maybe drop 10,000 or something like that on a nice copy, but you know,
Yeah. Then I
um
get caught with the shiny object, the shiny object syndrome, where okay, my plan is I'm not going to buy the filler books here. I'll wait to get the bigger one here. But ooh, this new series looks cool, and I start buying all this other series.
I know,
So instead
yeah,
of doing the filler stuff, I buy a bunch of other stuff anyway. So
yeah,
it never works out either way.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's fun, man.
right now I'm working on that FF25, the first thing Hulk fight.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, the con I went to a couple weeks ago, I did find a 8.0 for $3,400, and yeah, I probably have about half of that, but
Oh, it's still good.
you know,
But
uh,
the real question is, I know Stuntman, if you're still here, I showed you. Did you see the trailer for Black Friday? That's what you need to see. Thunder, I
for
don't know if
what?
you saw it, the trailer for Black Friday.
Black Friday.
So it's obviously it's a Scout comic book they made into a movie.
Oh, okay.
So it's about obviously Black Friday, the biggest shopping day of the year, and it's in like a Walmart kind of thing, and and they got Bruce Campbell to play one of the main parts in it, who I just
Mm.
absolutely love because Army, Darkness, Evil Dead. So obviously this whole thing is going on, and then something happens, and there's a zombie breakout during the Black
Oh,
Friday.
oh, wow. Okay.
Matthew, yeah, you did see it. Oh, it looks awesome. Yeah, that book completely. If you guys want to pick up a book right now, grab Black Friday because they're still really cheap. It's obviously going to be kind of those cult classic movies because Bruce Campbell's in it, so it's automatically going to get a following. but it just looks awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, this past week, so it's not an FF collector. I did pick this up.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
Hey, zoom in
Avengers
on that
number
one.
25.
Make yourself big, big.
Yeah, it's a fairly high grade book.
It looks like it.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a VF. I was hoping for more of a 9.0. I think it's probably more of an 8.0. I did pay a lot for it. I never mind telling people how much I paid. You know, it was about $300.
Oh, it's not bad. And that's one thing. Avengers, early Avengers, Silver Age, they're still relatively cheap compared to all the other books out
Yeah.
there. So you can get some really cool stories at really nice grades for much cheaper than like Thunder was saying, than Fantastic Four, X-Men, Spider-Man. You know, you get some good Avengers stories there.
Yeah. So I mean I paid, like I said, probably I definitely paid. I'm looking here at the new Overstreet, and 9.0 is listed at $300. So like I said, I paid what I thought was 9.0 price when I got it. I don't think it's quite a 9.0. I think the person overrepresented it a little bit on eBay.
What?
I know.
Overrepresented on eBay?
What? Believe that. But it's still a nice copy. And I'm not going to argue too much. I mean, really your price difference at this level between a 9.0 and a 8.0 is only about $40 or $50. So I mean, you really can't, so what? I'm paying maybe tomorrow's prices today or something,
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine.
but so one thing I did want to bring up though, what's your view on uh, I was looking at a really nice copy of Avengers number 15, which is the first new team, and it has Cap on the cover doing Avengers Assemble, graded 8.0. The guide on that book at an 8.0 is number 16. I apologize. Number 16, 8.0, $285.
That seems very low.
The person wants 400 for it. And we do have this. I mean, what then is like? I mean, we have a grade guidebook. Hey, Southern, you might have an input on this. We have an Overstreet. I mean, but if
think about the time that book was printed,
people are going to be asking over guide price for graded books. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
you can't go by Overstreet price guide. In this day and age, with how hot the market is, up and down on a whim, a tweet by someone, I mean, it's going too high. By the time that book was printed, I mean, they gather the data. It's got to print. It's got to ship out to everyone. I mean, you got a couple of month lag between that and what the marketplace really is. And then, man, if I don't believe into a whole lot. I believe by what's actually been selling over the past couple of months. And obviously we've got a great source on eBay, to look at those. Obviously it doesn't capture all the data on there. But if you look at the last few months of sales on eBay, what it's being sold for in the marketplace, it's going to go up and down all over the place, but you can at least get an average and say, okay, it should be around there. But saying an 8.0 is for 285 for a key old Avengers book, that just sounds ridiculously low to me.
Let's do a little experiment.
Or you look on eBay what it sold for?
Yeah. Avengers 16. Can never find the freaking. Is it sale items? No, it's sold. Where's
sold?
That? There it is. Sold listings. And why don't you like me?
Yeah, it doesn't sell all that often in an 8.0. I mean, you've had a couple of them sell for. God, you had one that sold for 750. Your one sold for 455. So I believe the one more with 455 because that was 33 bids.
Yeah, I don't see any.
Yeah, I think between 350 and 400, if you can find that price range, I think that sounds like a deal.
You think so?
Yep.
Eh. All right. Well, maybe so then. Maybe so. So what'd you get from anything with the comic doctor last week? Change of view on anything, or I mean, I've been actually meaning to reach out to you and talk to you about something else, and so remind me sometimes.
Sure.
Hey,
Never. How's it going?
welcome.
Welcome in. We're just chatting right now. I didn't do my presentation on Eternals, so we're just talking and hanging out right now.
Yeah, we talked about the Eternals for the
We
first
talked about a
couple
little bit for
minutes.
the other.
Now we're just talking.
Now we're rambling. I'm sorry. We're at the comic doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, cleaning and pressing. We talked about is one thing that's come out of this whole thing of people getting back into the the collecting market and whether people like flipping or not or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
the preservation that's going on right now in comics is actually awesome. Seeing all this going on and being able to clean and press some comics right there. Switching bags out because even Thunder brought this up. We probably should do a show on the proper way of taking care of a book.
Yeah, I actually meant to bring that topic up. We just ran out of time. It was on my list about preservation. See if he had any inputs and stuff. He talked a little bit about it.
Right.
Like if you send in things, definitely don't put them in Mylar because there's a lot of moving back and forth in and out of bags that can cause damage to your book. And Mylar is a bit notorious for snagging edges of books and things like that.
Yep. No, for sure. So
So
Matthew saying, so what are your predictions on how the Eternals will do in the box office? So far, the numbers have been super underwhelming. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting because when the Eternals first trailer dropped, it was the first trailer we got in like months of anything happening in the MCU, and that was the biggest. I think it said the biggest view count that they ever had for an MCU movie ever, and within like a 24-hour period or something like that. So everyone was super excited about it. And then they dropped the next one, and it was like one of the lowest ones they got. I don't think the movie's going to do as well as some of the other ones did, just because it's again a group that no one's really knows that much about. At least the previews they're showing is not enough to get people super excited. The last preview they showed, it got a little bit better. We got to see some of their powers and look like they did something. But the first couple of ones they dropped, when you're talking about a group of superheroes that no one's really heard of, and you wanted to get people to watch it, and you're putting out kind of like, nothing happens in these trailers, you're not going to get people to go to the movie. So it's going to be pretty interesting unless some amazing things really happen in the movie to get word of mouth going. It's a Marvel movie. It's going to be big. I mean, that's a given. But I don't think it's going to be big as some of the other ones. I mean, I'm thinking of maybe like Captain Marvel kind of size.
I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna go. I'll be there opening night. I already got my ticket purchased, so.
Oh, I mean, they've already got my money.
Yeah.
They got my money.
I got my money already, so yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely still got to see it. I just don't know if the rest of the world, and it's really going to be that first wave of once people see it and start talking about it, if it's going to take off. But it's not like a Captain America movie or a Thor movie or something that comes out where everyone's like, yeah, I'm going. Like the rumor of they're going to do a new Hulk movie. I don't
Yeah.
care
Yeah, I
what they
saw
do
that.
in that movie. That's going to be a monster. It's going to be a huge movie. It's going to do better than the Eternals. So I hope it's going to be Planet Hulk. The rumor is it's going to be a Planet Hulk movie. And
Yeah.
I hope we get a World Breaker Hulk in the MCU. That would be the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, I think we still have a little bit of I don't know, pandemic hangover a bit. I mean, of for a year and a half of not going anywhere, not going to movies. I think in some ways maybe we've just kind of gotten out of habit, and
I don't know. I
um
mean, Shang-Chi, that did record breaking numbers for that weekend. I thought that was a good movie.
well, what's funny is when you look at actually its box office compared to Black Widow still is slightly outperforming it. On a looking at
Not on
the
opening weekend.
yeah, it did.
Oh,
I think
really?
so. I think it did. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it definitely beat Black Widow, but I could be wrong.
Um, but I know whenever I was looking at the week to week dates, Black Widow was still in the lead. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, Black Widow
so
was not
and then
particularly good.
people reacted slightly negatively to Black Widow. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't like
Like I
it.
said, I think there's still a pandemic hangover. It's hard to judge. People expected James Bond to do crazy good. It underperformed.
I'm not surprised on that one either. The past couple James Bond haven't been the greatest.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
especially with Daniel Craig saying he doesn't want to be James Bond and he didn't want to even do this movie, and the past couple have all just been kind of interchangeable and they haven't been that great.
yeah. Yeah. So I think uh
Hulk movie, yeah, Hulk movie. I haven't seen
yeah,
Dune.
that's
I've been on the fence
and
with Dune.
that's what I was about to say. That's the ones I was thinking about was Dune and Venom. I think Venom underperformed, even though it did perform well.
Did it
Um,
underperform? I don't know if it did or
I'm
not.
not sure.
It did huge numbers, but I don't know. It was less than what they wanted to.
Yeah. And then Dune. Uh
See,
I'm
I
not sure what
never
Dune's
liked the
done.
first Dune movie. It was long and kind of boring for me when I saw it when I was younger, and I'm like, I don't know about that. I never got into the comics either. But they pretty much took the whole MCU cast and put it into Dune. So I'm like, all right, I'll see it then.
Right. I think Spider-Man's going to be crazy. I think that's going to be the first movie we're going to see this year do over 100 million in its first week.
Spider-Man?
In
Yeah.
its first week. Um,
Oh, Matthew, Ghostbusters. Yes. The new Ghostbusters movie looks funny. Todd says it helps if you read the book. Yeah, I didn't read Dune.
yeah. So, yeah, I've heard great things about Dune. I just haven't heard any excitement around it. Like, oh my God, you gotta go see this. This is an epic movie type of
Right.
thing, right? That's what I haven't heard. I've heard great things about it, but not, oh my God, you gotta go see this
Yeah.
type
I
of
mean, it seems like if you liked the original, if you like those Dune series, you're gonna like this movie. If you didn't like those, it didn't seem like it crossed over to people that didn't read or know the Dune story beforehand. It doesn't seem like they're the ones that saw the movie and be like, "Oh, it's great, you got to go see it." It's you got your Dune people, and I don't know. I want to try and see it though because it does look kind of cool.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Now it was one of those, it came out at the same time though, right? On HBO?
I
Or
don't
no?
know. I don't know. Todd, did it come out at the same time on both platforms, or was it just movies? Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't either. So
Dune's not an exciting action-packed movie. Yeah, I mean, if it's supposed to be like the
Yeah.
books and the
Okay, that's
original
what I was
movie, yeah,
thinking.
it's definitely more drawn out.
I thought you could go ahead and watch it on HBO. Yeah.
I mean,
So
that's what it seems like all of them are kind of doing now. I mean, that's what they did with Black Widow. I mean, that seems to be definitely the trend. You see them both at the same time. It was kind of nice to actually go to the theaters though. When I saw Venom and Shang-Chi, when I saw those, it was
yeah.
fun seeing
No,
those in the theaters and at home.
I enjoyed going to the theater, seeing Shang-Chi. I think I'll enjoy it. And I'll say this is that I bought my ticket for the Eternals. Um, you know, is before last Monday, or last Monday was when it dropped. You could buy tickets. I bought my ticket like Tuesday or Wednesday, and the theater was already 2/3 sold out.
Oh wow!
So, for the opening night, first showing,
Oh, open night first one. Is that like
so
a Thursday night, like late night, or are you talking about? Or
I think it's gonna be at 6 o'clock.
a
So,
movie popcorn is the best. You cannot duplicate that at home.
yeah, I agree.
And especially nowadays with the movies where you get the reclining chairs and everything there.
And
Oh, it's
that's
so
what I
nice.
did, the reclining chair
Yeah.
theater, Dolby, so, I had to get a seat in the back, so that was near the center, but
Right, Todd. That's the experience of the movies. You walk in, you smell the popcorn, you're like, all right, this is cool.
yeah.
You know you're gonna experience something different than doing the microwave popcorn or an air popper in the house and sitting back on the couch. It's just you don't get the same like
Do they still
immersion.
make air poppers?
I use my air
Or or
popper.
or do you have, like, one from the '80s?
No, I got you get them at Target for like $10, $15 or whatever.
Okay,
I love
okay.
them. Get a beer, yeah, not anymore, but used to.
Yeah, but
I don't know. What are you guys in the chat? What are you guys excited about? What movie coming out in the next 5 months here are you most excited to see? And you can't say Spider Man. That's a given. We all love Spider Man. And the butter, yeah. The butter, even because my nephew used to work in the movie theater, and he used to bring home the butter they used in the machines there. He's like, you got to put it on. It's the best thing. And it still doesn't taste like the one in the movie theater. I mean, even though it's the
right.
same ingredients, there's just something about it being there. Yeah, delivered to your seat. There was a theater back when I was in the Chicagoland area. You had that. You push your little button on
Yeah,
your seat, and they walk over and they give you whatever you want from the menu and drinks and everything. It was kind of cool.
yeah, yeah, we have one. I don't go to that theater. But, what was I gonna say?
Batman looks good. Yep, I definitely want to see Batman. I didn't want to see it in the beginning once they heard about the casting, but now I got to see it. Now, is your take? They're doing basically this is like almost like a Batman Year One kind of situation here, and we know the Quarter Owls is going to be present in there. I think the director something said a lot of it's based off of the Batman Ego. I don't think that was a one shot or at least a small limited series. Is that where you're also seeing is what they're drawing a lot of this inspiration from?
If you're asking me, I didn't
Yeah.
read it. It doesn't surprise me they're doing the Riddler because that's kind of the only villain that, you know, I mean, otherwise do the Penguin. I mean, and
You can't get the Danny DeVito penguin out of your head.
no, you can't. You can't, and I'm not sure if they've, the Riddler, that's what they want. They want this psychopathic type of villain, and it's not going to be like your Jim Carrey type of or Frank
Right.
Gorshin, type of Riddler, right?
See, that's the interesting thing about maybe Marvel compared to DC. I don't know because Batman they keep doing the same villains every single time. They rotate the staple of the 4 or 5, and they keep just recycling those. And he's
Right.
got this whole arsenal of obviously this rogues gallery is amazing. When I first heard they were doing Court of Owls, I thought we were going to see Talon, and it's going to be a whole new thing there. But
Yeah.
then like, oh, they're bringing in Riddler. Okay, we get to see Riddler again.
Right. Yeah.
I thought they were going to change up a little bit.
Yeah, I thought they would too.
Oh yeah, Flashpoint. Michael Keaton. I saw the new preview for that. That looks cool.
Yeah.
Sandman's definitely going to be good. Disco Dave. What is up, Disco? Appreciate
What's
you coming
up,
by,
Disco
man.
Dave? So what do you think in the Spider-Man movie? There's been like the back and forth, we're gonna see like the multiverse Spider-Man, gonna see an Andrew Garfield, gonna see a Tobey Maguire.
Supposedly.
Um, I mean, is he gonna be like a team up to have to take down all the villains? I mean, you know,
It sounds like it. Originally, I thought because you heard about all these things, you heard about you're going to see Tom Cruise as Iron Man. You heard all these things, and I
yeah,
thought it was just going to be, like a glimpse. Like I don't maybe everything's spinning around them. And you see a flash. Here's one universe, and you see Tom Cruise as Iron Man. It just flashes by, and then you see Andrew Garfield, and that flashes by. That's what I thought it was going to be, where we just see him as glimpses.
right,
But it looked like they spent quite a bit of time on set, and they were filming stuff.
yeah.
So it looks like there will be some kind of Spider Verse matchup, to defeat, obviously the Sinister Six. And I think it would be really cool. And I hope it is. And obviously, that's another rumor that one of those Spider Men coming in is Miles Morales. And that would be really cool to
Mm,
have Miles Morales come in some way, shape, or form.
okay,
And
okay,
Spider Man. That would be really cool.
yeah.
Because we know we're going to get him eventually. We know we're going to get Spider-Gwen eventually. Obviously, rumors saying he was cast already. We don't know if it's standalone, if that's on a Sony, or what is going to happen. But man, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I just yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's some stranger. How'd y'all get past that? You just hold your breath and do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people in the community that though people always recommend going to certain ones. And
Yeah,
like Rod's got a really big following. People love sending the books to him, and obviously we interviewed the doctor. He's a very reputable source you can send things to. So there's definitely some people out there, but yeah, it's hard just to look on IG or look on the web and say, okay, I'm going to send it to you and pray.
yeah, and I think probably one of the best piece of advice that he gave is do not get something cleaned and pressed until you're ready to get it graded.
Very good.
Right, because I made that mistake of spending about $400 on cleaning and pressing a stack of books, and they sat in a box for 6 months, and most of the defects have kind of come back to those books. I'm gonna have to get them repressed before I send them off. So the Comic Doctor and actually most cleaner and pressers will submit for you to
Yeah.
CGC or CBCS. A few of them will only submit if you have an account. So that means that you have to send with them your own packing slip and all
Form.
that. So you're actually paying uh CGC or CBCS directly. And then of course it doesn't matter where it gets shipped from, your address and all that is on the packing slip. So and on the account, so it'll come to you once it's graded. Um but that's yeah, and we mentioned that last week, Matthew. Like, do we think that the long wait times once something gets to CGC is that time enough for defects to kind of return? And the Comic Doctor felt like no, kind of because of the way they're handled. Um, he seemed to have some kind of inside information that the books are all laid flat together, the way they sort and hold them and stuff. He did mention that probably one of the worst things, which is what I did, is put them back into a comic book box where they're standing straight up and down, and that seemed to make the defects come back a little bit quicker. in my case. So, and you know, he didn't necessarily say it, but he didn't seem to really lean that much towards I've looked at a lot of his videos and stuff. He doesn't do modern books. You know, I think he mentioned that to us. Like, I'm not going to do a book that's valued less than such and such price.
Right.
So that's another thing too, is that if you are doing higher priced books, then they'll go through the system a little bit faster, especially if you pay for Fast Pass or whatever, right? It's supposed to take half the amount of time whenever you do
It depends. I mean, they've got, you know, the modern 2-day turnarounds for a lot of them now. They just go through quickly, or if it's a high priced one, you know, for insurance reasons, they get it through quickly too.
Yeah.
So if you're in the two things, if you're just getting a quick modern, it seems to go pretty quick. It's that whole everyone else where we fall in that middle ground where it just takes absolutely forever. And of course, everyone has got horror stories, or at least they've heard of horror stories of. I was actually in a store this weekend, and they got, I think, 150 books back, and 10 of them had the wrong labels on them.
Well, did you see the one from French Quarter where they actually sent him someone else's book?
No, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, he dropped a video where he got back one book or something. Yeah, that's all he did, was one expensive book. But he got two of them, and he said it was somebody in Texas, their Batman number blah blah blah, like a Silver Age book. And you know, he said he called CGC, and it's like they just seem to like not care.
No, like,
You know?
my buddy right now, he's got I think it was 5 books that CGC said they lost. Like, CGC said they received it in, it was in their warehouse, and something happened from the warehouse to them grading it, it got lost. So he's got all these, he has copies of all the emails, and he's showing me the emails. Like, oh, you know, I'm waiting for receiving. They open up an investigation. They'll find it somewhere along the way. And like several months go by. And he's like, what's going on with my book? Have you found it yet? Nope, still haven't found it yet. I haven't heard back from receiving. I'm like, go back there, get off your butt. You go back and receiving and say, because these were high priced books, where are these books right now? And there's just so many things going on with obviously the move and all the new employees and everything. I mean, that's why I think Disco, I mean, I haven't submitted anything since March. I got most of my books back. I haven't submitted anything since then because I don't want to. I mean, one, I'm not a huge, you know, for my PC, I don't have graded books in there because I'm not a huge believer in that side of it. But to have an acceptable business practice where I send you my valuable books, you hold on to them for 6 months to 9 months, I might get them back. I might get them in the same shape that I sent them in for. And I'm out of that book for that length of time where I could be doing a lot of other things with it. It's until they get down to a reasonable time frame where I send you my book and 30 days later I get it back, you know, then I'll start sending books again. But the wait time keeps getting longer. They keep doing more signings, which bumps things out even longer. So, I mean, everything goes by our dollar.
Yeah.
Every time you cast a vote, you spend money and say, I'm accepting your long wait times. Here's my money. Here's my books.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, we'll keep doing it then.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to hold mine off until everything comes down to a reasonable level, and then I'll do it.
So we got about 5 questions here. First one, Disco Dave, you use the doctor in Canada. I have not, but I'm planning to. He gave very good instructions of how to ship to Canada from the US that could be economical. He suggests using FedEx. And second, and it's a little bit scary, do not put the actual value of the package, because that's going to cause it to hit export. It causes it to go through a broker. Yep. Is what it does, and then you're going to get hit with brokerage fees.
Yep.
He said he's never had anything lost or damaged, and he's been doing this a long time. So I would contact him directly, but it sounds like FedEx, fairly reasonable cost, do a nice little stack, and then don't say it's more than $50. quick answer to one of Matthew's. Yes, I did see that Lock and Key season 2 dropped. I'm so happy for that. I'm going to binge it right now. I'm binging. I'm rewatching all of Lost, and I'm up to season 5. So I'm going to finish all of Lost, and then I'll be doing that. The modern versus older books. The older books are more porous because of the paper quality. They take the humidity and heat better than the modern books. Modern
That
books can be a bit sticky, and
yeah.
I think I'm not using a pun necessarily there, but literally they can be sticky. Um,
That is one thing I did learn that I don't, because I've got a little humidity tank, that I do, and I only have done it for Silver Age
yeah,
books for the most part, and his recommendation in pretty much every book can be benefited putting them in a humidity tank. I that blew my mind. I did not know that, so that's pretty cool. I'll start doing that with some of the newer books too.
yeah. So and I'm a different person with the modern stuff. I'm sorry. Never mind. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into it. I think only Silver Age stuff and Bronze Age. Never mind. But anyway, I'm going to get into it. Is Cgc the only grader? No. You of course have CBCS, which is in Dallas. Cgc is in Florida. You also have
PGX.
PGX, which a few people are actually going to now because of the long wait times with CGC and stuff. I'm not saying they're a bad grader. I own a few PGX in my collection. There's also the person with the Trojan symbol that does all these custom labels and stuff.
All the custom labels one I've seen, yeah.
Um, uh, I don't know what their criteria is on grading or anything. I know quite a few people have sent stuff, modern books to him to get these cool custom labels to do as giveaways. So, but yeah, there's a lot. Probably your two big ones, EGS. Thank you, Disco.
EG, yeah.
Your two big ones are going to be CGC and CBCS. Right now, I'm only submitting to CBCS, and that's simply because I've never had a mistake, and the wait times are nowhere near the length of time for CGC.
Right. It
CGC.
depends on what. In my mind, it still depends on what your goal is. If you just want to
I agree
preserve
with
it,
you.
keep in your PC,
Yeah,
CBCS, I would do that in a heartbeat.
yeah.
Especially if you've got signatures you want to get verified, CBCS absolutely all the way. If you're trying to, hey, I want to sell this in a year or 2 years down the road, I want to sell it, I would still go CGC. CGC still demands a higher price. People like the cases a little bit more, and even a couple of weeks ago, someone did I forgot who did a report, and they showed books selling on the same day, same grade, one CGC, one CBCS. Every single time, CGC sold more. So
Yeah, CGCs will sell for more. I mean, and I'm not going to say I got into an argument, but I had a discussion with someone at that con a couple of weeks ago, who's been in the business 30 years, 30 years plus, and he had some very strong feelings about if you want to flip stuff, you should use CGC. That CBCS will just never ever demand the type of money. And then the last question I saw was about being packed for so long preserves the effects of pressing. No, it's the way CGC holds the books. If you ever go to a con and CGC is set up, whenever they take the books from you, they slide them into this large plastic bag, and then the plastic bag is they're slid in flat into this large case, right? And this is the way that they're stored. So even when it goes through all the processes at CGC, they're always laid flat. What hurts the book is what I did. So I can tell you from my own experience, I got a bunch of books graded and I stored them straight up and down in a box. And each of the ticks that were pressed out came back.
Yep.
So the comic doctor said that by storing them flat like that will actually help preserve the pressing, the effect of the press longer than a book stored up and down in a comic box. And think about it, when someone's in a comic box, you're always going to have some wiggle room. Things will get moved, things will lay off to the side, and start naturally bending over time. I just bent someone's book. Oh, it's Jeff's. It didn't matter. I can show this how it bends. So it's okay. But yeah, so that's what he was saying, is that that helps preserve it. Diamond did not buy CGC. Another investment company bought CGC, and I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head. So some of the graders offer clean and pressing. Any advantage just to have the graders do it? We talked about that. I'll tell you this. One, the comic doctor was completely against it. I'm against it too. I've sent stuff in to CGC and had them clean it and press it for me. Horrible job. They damaged the book. Pieces literally got torn off of the book during the process. They are not going to take the care and kindness that an independent presser and cleaner will do for your books, right? Because they have tons of books they got to go through to do, and they're just not going to take that time. He also gave some examples where he's gotten graded books from people to break open and re-clean and press that were supposedly cleaned and pressed by the company. And, he said it was just not a very good, and he has videos. I mean, don't take Blackstone. Thank you. Yeah, don't take mine. He shows a lot of examples on some of his videos, holding a book up in a slab saying this was supposedly cleaned and pressed by CGC, and you can see the obvious ticks and things like that with the book. So
yeah, there's horror stories both ways. I mean, I personally would rather go to an independent guy you trust than there, but there are some advantages of sending it to was it CSS and CVCS. Obviously, if you're sending it there, they've got the insurance and everything covered for it. If something does happen, it is taken care of there. Unfortunately, the lead times, if we're talking 6 to 9 months just to get your comic graded, it's the same amount of time to get your comic pressed and then graded. So now you're looking at about over a year time span, basically, to get your books back if you want them to clean it and then to get it graded, on top of it. So it's a much longer lead time, as opposed if you send it to someone you trust, their lead time might only be like a week or two, to get your book done. And then it goes right into the grading system from there. So you save a ton of time. To Shelby's point, a lot of these guys, they take a little bit more time to do yours, as opposed to, CGC, CSS, whatever it's called. Well, they've got stacks and stacks, and it's just employees paid by the hour to run this stuff through there. And, there's people having some great stories from that, saying, hey, it was absolutely great. The peace of mind was great. I sent it to one place. Don't have to worry about it again. If something were to happen, I know I'm covered. So there is that side of it. But personally, like I said, I'm with Shelby and the doctor. I wouldn't do it. In the very beginning, I sent a couple there, like last year. I sent a few books to there and had them do it. And there was things came back with obvious pressable defects still in there. and be like, this wasn't pressed, or if it was, it wasn't pressed very well.
Yeah. Probably my biggest problem is like there was actual like a piece ripped off of a book.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, that was pretty bad. But I've heard things of like, you know, split covers and, you know, and such out there. So so I mean, I don't know. You know, I don't want to say do your homework. So there's so many different opinions out there. Maybe you should just trust us. But you know, I think maybe the take home is find a good independent presser. There's Erod. I've talked to him once. I'll be honest. He did not seem. He seemed so backed up that he just wasn't very interested in. And that was my own personal
Like,
experience.
a lot of the good guys are really bad. Like the comic doctor, he's backed up what 1,500 books of what a month I think he's doing right now, or something. He's backed up by. So a lot of the good guys are backed up, and they aren't accepting too much right now.
Yeah.
So that is the one thing that so many people are doing it now. Like, oh, I can do it. I can clean your book. You don't know if they're going to be good or not.
Yeah. You know, the comic doctor did say he was backed up. It's probably about a 2-3 month time, it sounded like, for him to get something. I've used a person whose website is literally called the comicbookgrader.com. I think he underpresses a little bit. He's got a lot of years of experience, but he seems more concerned about damaging a book by overpressing something. I've gotten books back that I thought definitely had pressable defects still in them, you know. But at the same time, I am kind of, you know, these were Silver Age books, so you know, he took the care not to overpress something, which there's horror stories of that too, like
Right.
cooking books and stuff. So he does use a light touch, so to speak. There is 2 other people I'm thinking of. There was one that was interviewed by the guy that does the Hot 10 with the
Comic
guy that
Con.
does all the omnibuses and statues,
Oh, Gem Mint.
Jim Mint. He interviewed a person about 6-8 months ago, Comic Restores or something like that. He seems very backed up also. And then we actually have a friend in the community. I'm not sure if you know him or not, Jeff. That's, and I doubt I'm going to find his name quickly.
Yeah, but anyway, just find people that people have used before, have great results. They usually will have some good recommendations, and they'll have good, letters of recommendation or anything. But
yeah, and y'all drop below.
Out there.
Yeah, y'all drop below any, you know, pressers and stuff that you found. They're strictly that's here in Texas in Houston with me. I hear he's good. I've never used them.
Yeah, and you can always ask questions too from them. I mean, some people will just throw it in a press and be like, "Okay, I'm done. I pressed your book." And obviously talking to the comic doctor, and there's a lot more to it than that. That's the final step for the most part. But there's a lot of other processes that are involved in that. And if they're using, like I said, tack irons and ball bearings and everything else to get all those other little things out. And there's a lot of guys who do educational YouTube videos that also obviously do their own cleaning and pressing as well. And you can see, if they're taking good care of that, and you see what kind of comments and feedback you get from there. But yeah, just do some research on there. But there's a lot of good people out there. Like I said, personally, I wouldn't send it to CGC or CBCS to do it.
I'm not sure if Yahweh does or not. There's some people that presses their own books that they don't do it for other people. Yahweh may be one of those where he has a press there at his house and he does some of his own books, but he doesn't do it for other people. X Collect, J1 Bob, all of them I know own presses, but they don't press for other people. They don't want to take the responsibility. So, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah, it was a fun night tonight. And so just jumping on board again, not the educational one that I wanted to do. So again, I apologize for that. But thank you everyone for hanging out with us for
yeah,
a while.
for sure,
It was over an hour long, just kind of hearing us yapping away.
yeah. I was not going to volunteer Jeff for that. I was going to let him share that information if he wanted to.
Oh, I don't do other people's. Like I said, I'll press my own stuff, but I won't do anyone else's.
Yeah. Reggie Collects did a couple of videos of his pressing techniques. So yeah, I mean there's people out there, and again, drop in the comments if y'all know any good pressers. I'll try and remember the person's name. I can't believe it's not coming to me, but yeah, drop in the comments and stuff. So what we got coming up, Jeff?
Oh, let's see. Was it Monday, right? So we got Wednesday. Obviously got the Whatnot show on Wednesday. I'm going to try and make it to Thunders on Thursday. And then, of course, Friday, the big show. And then Sunday, my normal schedule I got on there. What about you? What are you doing?
I will be on Whatnot tomorrow night. And since I think we're kind of alternating Thursdays with Thunder, I should be on Whatnot this Thursday also. And then Sunday, Halloween night, I will be Titan. That's who I was trying to think of. Yes, Titan. Thank you, Shutterduck. Titan, super great guy. I really like him as a person. We've talked many times. I know that he's trying to turn his pressing into a business. He invested in several presses, and apparently he's pretty good. So I've never used him, so I can't speak from experience, but I like the guy a lot, and I think that he would be an excellent choice to give a try to. So Titan, thank you so much, Shutterduck, for remembering that. Yeah, it's a Thursday, and then Sunday night, Halloween, I will be on Sands auction. I'll be doing my great Halloween sale, my second annual Shelby Comics Halloween sale. I'll be selling nothing but scary books that night. I'll probably even dressed up. I'll have the room decorated or something. We're gonna have something special. But I did it last year, my all scary book sale, and we're gonna do the same thing. So you're gonna be seeing a lot of Vampirilla. You're gonna be seeing a lot of just a lot of cool things. Anything horror and stuff is going to be there.
Very cool, man.
Yep. So unless Jeff has a topic for next week, I'm going to start a series. So like we always said, we like to discuss comic book history. So I'm actually going to start a series of the history of comic books. We're going to start all the way back from the early 1900s. And talk about some of the very first comics and stuff. And so I'm not sure how many parts it'll be. But I've got several ideas for Golden Age. So that we'll be talking about the beginning of comics, beginning from the pulp era, the first books that was in the early 1900s, and kind of go from there. So yeah. And then we're going to talk a little bit somewhere while we're in the Golden Age, talk about comic books on radio. Radio was this box you could buy that had an antenna that picked up these waves. So it was kind of like podcast, except on this box. And it was a story. So maybe y'all don't know about those things, but yeah, talk a little bit about that.
Cool. Yeah, definitely some good stuff. Like I said, I'll probably go back to. I've been sitting on the story of Wildstorm comics for a while. So while Shelby
Ooh,
will go back and talk about the beginning comics, I like my 80s, 90s stuff. So I'll be talking about the 90s stuff again.
sounds great. Maybe we'll meet in the middle in the 60s somewhere.
Meet what?
Meet in the middle. Anyway. All right, that is it. Hey, thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us for a little over an hour. And with that, I guess we're just gonna sign off. We're gonna say some peace, love,
Love
and
and
comics.
comics.
Bye,
Thank
y'all.
you all. Appreciate it.